Hi everyone, welcome to Anatomy and Physiology Screencast. This video will focus on the second part of Chapter 5.2 on glandular epithelium. In our last video, we mentioned several things. One of them was that epithelia could be characterized by the cell layers that it had and the cell shapes that were characteristic of those layers. We also noted that epithelium is avascular, which means that it has no blood vessels running through. Okay. With regards to its vascularity or lack of vascularity, we also want to mention something that I didn't mention in the last lesson, and that is the fact that epithelium is known for its tight junctions. And tight junctions refers to the space between, or lack of space between, cells that are neighboring an epithelium. So notice that this is very, very tight, and this means that things can only diffuse in and out through the basolateral, or the bottom, where the basement membrane is, portion of the cell. I also want to note two more words, apical and basolateral. So basolateral, as you know, is now associated with the basement membrane. So it's the side of the cell, the portion of the cell that is facing that basement membrane. And the apical part or portion is the one facing the lumen. So the apical portion has to do with glandular epithelium. So this is the part that actually, the apical part of the cell is the part that is associated with secreting and secretions. There's two types of epithelium that is associated with glands. The first one's endocrine, and the endocrine glands secrete straight into tissue and blood. So here we're talking about hormones, for example, cortisol and adrenaline, and the sex hormones, which are estrogen and testosterone. So these glands, the one thing you really need to know about these glands is that they're ductless. The ones that secrete into ducts are referred to as exocrine glands, and there's three types. But before that, we're going to take a look at the endocrine system and their tissues and glands associated with hormones especially. The hypothalamus, pituitary gland, pineal gland or epiphysis, the parathyroid gland on top of the thyroid gland right here in your throat, the adrenal glands on top of your kidneys, okay, there's your kidneys in the background. The pancreas, which actually has both endocrine and exocrine function. The ovaries, same thing, and the testicles. We also want to take a look at exocrine glands. So examples of exocrine glands may be your salivary glands. You may be familiar with the submandibular gland, which is the gland that's associated with secreting saliva underneath your tongue. Mammary glands. So here we're taking a look at where milk is produced and the ducts that it comes out of. And also here is a good cross-section of the skin, which has various glands, two, eccrine and apocrine, that are associated only with producing sweat. And then there are other glands that secrete oily fatty substances called sebaceous glands, and they secrete something called sebum. And sebum is what makes your hair oily after a couple of days of not washing it. The pancreas is special because it actually has both exocrine and endocrine functions. Exocrine functions refer to the digestive enzymes, or the enzymes that break food down, that go through ducts. And here you can actually take a look at where the pancreatic duct, and this is the pancreas right here, the pancreatic duct secretes its products straight into, through the bile duct into the duodenum of the intestine. And you can tell where the pancreas is located. It is behind the liver and behind the stomach as well. So this is a good kind of a see-through picture right here. There's three types of exocrine glands that you want to focus on. The very first one is merocrine, and the merocrine gland is also known as the eccrine gland. Or merocrine glands are also known as eccrine glands. And these secrete their products through exocytosis of all the products right outside into the ducts. So as you can tell, it's salivary, there's salivary glands right here, and the products go straight and are dumped straight into the duct. These are the most numerous of all glands, and you can take a look at serous glands and mucus glands, salivary and sweat glands as examples. Apocrine refers to part. So basically, part of the cell membrane actually pinches off the cell. So the cell by itself here, lining, maintains its integrity, just the part with the products comes off, and that's secreted into the ducts. Mammary glands are good examples of sweat glands, and ceruminous glands, which secrete cerumen, which is earwax, are good examples also of these type of glands. Holo means whole. So here, whole cells are pinching off and disintegrating as time goes by. These type of glands have a lot of mitosis going on because obviously the whole cell pinches off. Here you have things like sebum, sebaceous glands, that are associated with skin and nose. There are different types of structures to glands, so we're going to go through this pretty quickly. Simple and compound is what you need to know. So basically take a look at the lobes. Here in simple, you can take a look at the structure and the placement of cells. Very, very simple. And anything that is multi-lobed we refer to as compound. And these, of course, are exocrine glands because you can tell that they have ducts. A few good examples of microscopic samples of glands, and these are cross-sections of apocrine sweat glands. Other apocrine sweat glands are found here, the bottom left pictures. Good examples of ecrine sweat glands are right here, and remember those are merocrine. Those are referred to as merocrine as well. You can tell a hair follicle is right here as well. And here is a sebaceous gland which secretes sebum. Like I said before, the substance that makes your hair oily, also sebaceous glands. And here's the hair follicle. The last thing we want to cover are the glands that are controlled by the products of other glands. So for example, during puberty, when we're taking a look at mammary glands and also formation of milk and where milk comes from, those glands are really pretty much non-existent. As you go through puberty and you reach pregnancy, all of a sudden you have hormones from other glands, prolactin, progesterone, and other lactogens, lacto refers to milk, being formed. So you'll see that the density, especially right around the time that baby needs to breastfeed, lactation, density really, really increases in terms of gland formation. So that concludes 5.2 on glands.